okay, little out of control, maybe a little late, but we're still excited. Was this an awesome Olympics or what? I heard some smack of people talking about, I don't care nothing about these Olympics. I thought, given no fans, and all of the adversity of COVID-19 and the Delta variant and everything, and going to Tokyo and with everything that went on, I thought it was just awesome. Welcome, by the way. I just was so excited. I forgot to even welcome everybody into the show. This is Certified Unscripted. I'm your host, Vera Jones. And I can tell you right now, we're probably going to be talking a whole lot of Olympics. For all of the people that are out there watching, we always appreciate you so much. LaShawn, I see you. Danelle, you're back every week. We love it. Yes, Jimmy, we're going to talk about Dawn Staley stepping down. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. So rather than me carry on and on and on, let's get into our Power Pack panel. Penny Toler, the GM, always comes in first because, you know, the GM's the one that always handles the money. So she's first. So. You never, ever tick off the GM. How you doing, Penny Toler? Of course, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, long legendary status in the WNBA, particularly with the franchise known as the Los Angeles Sparks, 23 years, player, coach, GM, floor sweeper, vice president, the whole works. Penny, what did you love about the Olympics?
Oh, I love the Olympics. You know, it's one of those situations where I'm sure Tokyo took an L economically, but they get a big W, in my opinion, for pulling off what I'm sure had to be the hardest thing ever in a pandemic, a whole Olympics to keep all the players safe. If you look at the amount of players that caught COVID, you know, that we knew about, what was it, like 3, 4? I'm not talking about the ones that caught it before they got there. I thought they did an amazing job. And I can honestly tell you that I found myself many nights falling asleep on the couch because I was watching all the events. And the Americans, we rocked it. So I love the Olympics. I love it.
You know, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, so a lot of events watch me. But I would wake up with that one eye every once in a while, be like, oh yeah, run. So it was great. And how about volleyball? Well, I won't jump in yet.
I love volleyball. Just so you know,
first time getting the gold. Well, if anybody knows about the Olympics, it's Mighty Ruthie Bolton was down in Tokyo, right in the midst of the COVID and the mask that she didn't want to wear.
I did not want to wear that mask, that's for sure. But I knew I had to.
You had to. Did you get your rest? And what was your magic moment at the Olympics?
You know what? There were so many great moments for me, but really walking around in the village with so many amazing athletes and just seeing all these Olympians, it was amazing. Like, everybody has worked so hard to get here, and it was sort of a mutual quiet respect. It's almost like a virtual high five. Like, you know what, you go, and even for the other country, just watching these athletes that have worked their butt off to get there. So it was a special atmosphere, and to me that was a lot of fun. We couldn't go anywhere else and watch anything else, but seeing them walk through the village, go through the cafeteria was a paramount experience.
So you had the bird's eye view up close and personal right there in Tokyo. So lucky you. What a blessing to be there and be able to talk to us and be with us, because we have to live vicariously through you, through all the sights and sounds of everything that happened. Well, all right. So this was a big deal. This was a big Olympics. Yes. And more, I think the women, what was the count?
66 gold medals. The women,
66 gold, yeah.
The 66 of the medals were won by the women.
All women, right? So girl power. So we're in it. But I am super excited because we have a special guest. Teresa Weatherspoon will not be joining us. By the way, all of you, I didn't give my proper introduction to Ruthie, the mighty Ruthie Bolton, also a former Olympian, Sacramento Monarchs, WNBA champ, and world-class singer on America's Got Talent. Not yet, coming up. So
I want you to go on the Voice. I like the Voice.
The voice. All right. So Teresa Weatherspoon will not be joining us this evening. But when you talk about Olympics, you don't know nothing about the Olympics and women's basketball if you don't know Gail Marquis. Please welcome the famous, the legendary Gail Marquis. Thank you. Where's my horn? Yeah, I'm going with the horn tonight. Congratulations.
Yeah, give me some noise there. I like that.
Hey, welcome in, Gail. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. How are you?
It's a pleasure. It's great to meet these great stars, Penny and Ruthie. Just wonderful being in your company. And Vera, you and I go back talking about all kinds of things. So it's just nice to be around. Wonderful time. I enjoyed the games as well.
So as our banner says, 1976, the very first time women played. And first of all, you don't look like you played in 76. So, but the very first time, you want to talk about legendary status, that we played in the Olympics, came home with the silver. Do you remember to who?
Oh, to Russia.
Oh, to Russia.
To Russia. But they never won again. So I'm sure that they was drinking more than Kool-Aid.
Right,
and they probably were playing with Russian officials, because if you ever played overseas with Ruthie, you know, when you go overseas, them officials, I mean, they get fur coats, champagne, because if you on a home anywhere near home, they're gonna homer you. So
yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, they horrific.
Gail, take us back to night. Well, first of all, we were doing hot seat. Put you on the hot seat. What was that magic moment? What was big for you at the Olympics? If you can just think of one thing this year.
There were two for me. I think the first one had to be the opening ceremonies when 300 of us were outside the Olympic Stadium, just kind of hanging around. It was hot. They had us in our dress blues and white. I had some scarf around my neck that was just flapping and enough already. And they wanted us to march into the arena. And we were just not tired, but cranky. But eventually, as we got closer to that Olympic Stadium in Montreal, they had a huge opening, and it was dark. And then we all of a sudden, all 300 of us just kind of fell into step. From the little gymnasts and the flyweights and the weightlifters all the way up to the back where the basketball, volleyball, and men's basketball were. We came in 10 across, 30 down. We came in, made that turn, and you get into that open air arena, and they say United States at Tazuni, and it was just a roar that like hit my chest. And that's when I said, oh my goodness, I made the Olympic team. All those practices and trials and yelling and splits and times, you know, I'm crying in the corner. But then I realized I made the Olympic team. It was all worth it. And as I go through there and you look off to the side, there is the Queen of England. Whoa. In a beautiful pink outfit. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, with a pillbox hat. And you know she got a purse. She don't even have change of $1 in there, I'm sure, because she doesn't buy anything. And they said, don't wave at the Queen. What did I do? You know, I waved at the Queen.
I know that.
Okay, because she was waving at me. I waved at the Queen.
I know that's right.
I had an Instamatic camera, and I took a picture too.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's my Olympic moment. And then, by the way, when they put a medal around my neck, that was another one. But those opening ceremonies, I realized what I had done.
But it was the very first for women's basketball, right? The very first Olympics for the U.S. for women's basketball, period. And the USA is obviously participating in. When you look back now and you're watching the games now and you see, do you feel like an icon? Do you feel like a pioneer?
Yes, I do, because these girls can run so fast. They would have swatted my nonsense to row 3. And they're so strong and powerful. I love it. I love their game. I love their speed. I am so proud of each generation of women basketball players as they go through. I remember with Ruthie's team in '84, when we got a chance to meet them and play against them. We had some scrimmages against different teams. I mean, they were just beyond. There was Cheryl Miller was on the team. One of the McGee twins was on the team. And these ladies, they were just sharp. They were real sharp. So I've seen the progress of the game and just very proud. And I'm humbled to have been on like the first row and then to see all of these other athletes come by. Beautiful.
So here's some things that some of our since we're putting people on the hot seat, we got to get some of our viewers. JaVale McGee and Pam McGee, first mother-son, gold medalists in Olympic basketball. Very, very good. Someone was saying, did we see the video of Diana Taurasi twerking in the locker room? No, we didn't see it. We're going to go to it in just a little bit. I still get this one all the time from Hoop Baller Scoop. Is Lisa Leslie, we'll get to this in a little, is Lisa Leslie or Teresa Edwards the greatest Olympic women's player ever? How dare they ask in the face of Gail Marquis and Ruthie Bolton, right? Lisa leads in points, rebounds, and blocks of all time. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the greatest ever because we've got some things coming up with the GOAT. And one more, Miss Vera, please get a lot of our questions this week. Thank you, Netta. Holy smokes. We're okay, Netta. Is it time for Diana and Sue to move on from USA basketball? So hopefully we've satisfied Netta. We're going to get to that question. Well, now let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go to this question.
Before we go there, Vera, I do have one question for Gail that I've been wanting to hear. I didn't want to ask before. Gail, back in 1976, how did they pick the team? It was a big controversy this year about picking the team. Mm-hmm. How did you obviously I done dove into your background and saw how you found out about the Olympics, but how was that team picked? Was there a committee or how was it picked? I think that's interesting to see how your team was picked.
Well, they had regional spots, first of all. So it was in 76. So they had 5 regions across the country. Now, I'm in the Northeast out of New York, New Jersey. So I was in that region. I think it was held up in Southern Connecticut because UConn was not a big school at that time. University of wasn't. So we went to that tryout. There were about 130, about 150 girls and women there. Now, mind you, they had put an ad in the newspaper to say they were having Olympic trials.
Wow.
So everyone and their cousins. Everyone and their cousins was there. So you had to really make sure that you could get through the different activities, drills, and not get hurt. Because you can get hurt around somebody who can't stop. Have you played basketball against football players? They don't stop. They just kind of grab you and slow down. So in these trials, the manager came out, the organizer, and she said, we're only taking 5 of you out of like 150. Wow. And they the trial was only 3 days. And after they cut it down to 5, then our 5, I was part of it, they sent us to Missouri. And so the other regions could get there. They had those 25. And then they had all 12 from the Pan Am team from the year before who didn't have to try. They just kind of came in. And that was the Pat Heads, Pat Summits. That was the Annie Myers and Nancy Liebermans. Wow. They just brought them in, and we met them at the big trial, which had about 50 or 60 players. And they made the cuts over 5 days. And by that last day, I was packing my bag, getting ready to go home, when Nancy Lieberman came into my room, and she was real goofy. She was only 17 years old, but she and I lived in the same New York. And she said, Gail, we made it. We made the team. I said, get the F out of my face. Stop messing with me. You're always playing with them. Todd, you playing with me. And then another player came in, Carol Blazkowski, one of the greats, one of the best shooters I've ever had to guard. Thank goodness I was happy when I could play with her later on. But one of the best shooters. And she was upset because she had not made the team. But it was just a committee who sat up there and no interaction with you. It had nothing to do. The coach was Billie Jean Moore from UCLA and all, but maybe Billie had some input, but she didn't have anything around the selection side. And they slapped the paper up on the wall and 12 players and 3 alternates. And then one alternate, she got pissed off and she left because she said she should have made the team.
Oh, wow.
Well, she was on her way to leaving anyway if she didn't make the team. So she got a head start.
She went ahead and left. I know she's from California. Her name slips on mine, but it'll come back in a few.
Was Pat Summit? Well, here's a question from Dion.
How was Pat Summit as a basketball player?
Yeah, how was she on the back as a player?
She was coming off of a knee injury, so she had an ugly brace. In those days, they had those braces that had like the metal hinges on the side.
Yeah,
so you didn't want to guard her too close because you get cut with those. but she was real gutsy. She had some serious knee injury the year before, but she was gutsy. She was one of our leaders. She ended up being one of our team captains, along with Juline Simpson after she got married. She had to play hard. And I tell the young folks that I didn't get all the playing time I want. So I just went back and just wailed on those other players, meaning our starting 5, our starting 7 or 8. I would make it so they have to, because they didn't catch me. Billy will tell them to go hit the line or something. I loved it. If I'm not going to play, then fine. I'm going to make sure that it's tough for you to play too. Not in a bad sense, but just to make sure that they worked hard. That's what I was down for.
All right, we got the feedback coming in again. Oh, it must have been Mighty Ruru. She just turned off. But Ruthie, we actually, there was a question for you. I'm pretty sure we didn't have a 98 Olympics, but that's what the question was. But they were talking about a game when you took over. Do you remember?
Oh, that was the World Championship in Berlin. Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, we played. Yeah, it was. We were down with the Russians by 14 and a half, and they really scouted us well. We could not really. It was a tough game. We didn't play it well as a team. The first half was bad, and we just couldn't get in the rhythm. They stopped us from running, and then down the stretch, I want to say, me, Dawn, and Lisa, I think hit 18 points down the last 5 minutes, and I think we came back. So I think that's what we hit the last 18 points, just the 3 of us. We had like a triangle set up. So yeah, it was that game meant a lot to me, even almost more than the Olympics, because we had to fight so hard. When you're in your own backyard, it's easy to win, easier. But when you're in somebody else's backyard, the pressure coming off in 98, how could we still win? Was it a fluke that we won, or was it, but it was trying to win 98 too. So that was really a special time to win that too, because being down at about 14 and 15 and a half. So that was a great comeback.
Ruthie, where was that game? Was that game in Russia?
No, it was in Berlin. It was in Germany.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Any other thoughts? We had so many things, again, off screen, off camera. For those of you who are joining us, thanks again, Facebook Live and as well as YouTube Live. And don't forget to go to our website. Forget to say that because I get excited.
I want to add in real quick, since we mentioned Pat Summitt, someone had this on the shirt. One thing, obviously, Pat Summitt as a player and as a coach, but it was one of her favorite quotes that I just add in just to give her props. It said, "This is how we're going to beat you. We're going to outwork you, and that's just all there is to it." And that was on back of someone's shirt at a school that I went to not too long ago, and it was Pat Summitt. But it was just, to me, a testament of how the game has evolved and how just, obviously, the legacy she left and the legacy, Gail, that you have left in basketball. So it's great to really talk about our heroes that, that y'all carry us on y'all shoulders, and we appreciate what you've done. And just really creating a legacy for us. And really, people need to know who you are. People need to know the people that have come before. They didn't just wake up these either new Olympics and that basketball was there. There's a lot of trail work. There's a lot of foundation that's been laid. So thanks to you for what you've done.
And thanks to you and Penny for carrying it forward, that they realized they had to find a home for women's basketball. They couldn't just make it just for every 4 years. You have to have a place for these ladies to play. So thanks to you, you kept it going.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what I was going to say too, is, I before the show even started, I was talking to Vera. I was like, wow, even for my job, like being a GM, is people don't understand it's the road. It's a long road before that day, because I can only imagine, and I can tell you, I'm like a kid in a candy store right now, because I want to hear everything. Even like, okay, they picked the team. What were the accommodations? How did you guys get there? Like everything now, everybody's spoiled rotten. I said it. Everybody's spoiled rotten. I got to have my list where y'all probably had to carry your own bags.
Oh my God.
Bring your own balls, and how would, just, I know I may be boring everybody, but I want to hear it. Like
No, you're right. You're right. We were humbled to be part of it and to be the first. When we would go out, let's say, first of all, we were in a small town. We made the Olympic team. We were in central Missouri State. So when you got off the airplane in Kansas City, you still had to take a bus ride an hour and a half to get to this college where we were having the tryouts. And then the U.S. team had not qualified for the Olympics. So we started training in May, and we were training for just to get the qualifying tournament, which was going to be 6 weeks later in Toronto, Canada. So we had to do all that training. And we were on, if you've been in the dorm rooms, it's those very thin mattresses with the plastic on it, like in case somebody, wet the bed or something. It was those kind of mattresses. The food was still assembly line, go get something to eat. We got per per diem was $7
What was that?
a day.
$10? Oh, it was $7.
$7 a day.
$7.
I was about to say 10. You say 7.
10.
$7
You get paid
a day.
if you got 10.
Oh boy! But listen, I used to give the manager a single and say, just give me the 50, the 50, because I knew I was going to pocket it. I wasn't coming from money, so I knew how to handle it. And we would go out as a team, and they would say you can each spend $15. So we're at a restaurant, looking at the menu. You can spend $15, and that's how they would pair it out. Sometimes I would go a little over, but I knew that my teammate over here, Trish, she didn't really eat that much Roberts. And so I know I could probably get a little bit of $1 or $2 away from her, and they wouldn't even know it. Flight-wise, we were just regular airplanes. When we finally we qualified for the Olympics, and then we went to Rochester, New York, and we didn't quite go to the staging area. And I didn't know until 10 years later, why did we qualify in Toronto? Why did we not go straight to Montreal? Why didn't we go to Plattsburgh, New York, where they had all the uniforms and warm-ups and bags and everything? Why did we go to Rochester University or Rochester Institute? Found out 10 years later that the U.S. Olympic Committee did not think that we would qualify. So they didn't have uniforms. They didn't have any equipment for us, no sneakers, nothing. They had no money. There was a gentleman named Bill Wall. Ruthie might know. You might have heard of Bill Wall.
Yeah, I know.
He gave his American Express card to Billie Jean Moore and said, Billie, you take care of the girls until I could get this settled. So the men were carte blanche. We were on the mattresses at Rochester Institute, for about a week or two. And who came to our aid was Hunter Lowe. I think you might know Hunter Lowe. He was big with the Kodak All-American team. Okay. And Hunter Lowe and George Eastman from Eastman Kodak were in their country. We're in their backyard in Rochester, New York. They put us up. They took us to the Eastman house. At least we had one day by the swimming pool and a little barbecue. So it was like cheer, rah, rah. And even then, you couldn't get angry. I wasn't mad, pissed off, not at all, not in the least. I'm an Olympian. I'm enjoying all of this.
Yeah.
We had nothing to compare it to outside of what we had at our own colleges. And if you look back at our own college, I didn't have per diem. I had to get my own money to buy sneakers or whatever else and things like that. So it was still big time. And they made us feel like we were big time. Like I said, 10 years later, that's when the coach told us. And she said, it wouldn't have been good if I had told you we don't have any money. They didn't plan for us. They're trying to get uniforms for us. It would have deflated us. So I'm so glad she didn't tell us these stories until years later.
Man, that's an awesome story. Awesome story.
Great question, Gail. You've seen the best women ballers, right? You outrank all of us, right? Just because of your longevity.
Legacy.
So, your top five. This matters. Boy. Get it right.
That's hard.
I've
had my shot blocked or embarrassed by. Who always gets me is Lucy Harris. Lucy Harris from Delta State. I know it's ancient. And if you don't look at her now, she came. We were playing in Madison Square Garden, and that's my hometown. That's my backyard. I'm supposed to defend, and she just came over here and was drop stepping all through the 3-point lane. But she was an L10-11. She was a real big wide body, very hard to get around and quick. And she knew her area. She knew stay close to the basket. And those little ladies that played with her just always dumped it into a nice, strong player. She's one of my top. I like Cheryl Miller as well. Cheryl was just so versatile, end to end, up and down the court, difficult to stop. And she was in the 84 Olympics. I'm sorry, Ruthie, I had put you in 84. I'm sorry. Those are two of my favorite. And I'll tell you, I will not admit it to her in her face. I will deny it. But I'll say Carol Blazejowski. Put her up there. Wow. But if Carol says I told you so, I'll say no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
He's not watching the show yet. He's probably okay.
Just those are a couple of them. As I fast forward and look at some of the great players that are much more recent, I like the longevity, the versatility of players like a Taurasi, like a Sue Bird. I like their versatility. Teresa Edwards. I like her quiet leadership. Yeah. I remember sitting with her when I was on trying out for the 80 team, and she was just a sophomore, junior at Georgia, and she was a little pissed that she wasn't getting time or wasn't. I said, Teresa, it's going to come. All right. There's a lot of them in front of you. I didn't want to talk politics to her, but Teresa was like a junior, maybe a sophomore. She was just on the edge of that greatness, but you had like a Nancy Lieberman in front of her, maybe some of the others who you had to pay your dues, so to speak. But naturally, her story is legendary. She hung around and picked up 4 medals, and she always was enamored by my medal. And I never did understand why, since she has, 4 of them. But she always said that, Gail, you have the very first. So
you have the very first.
Yeah.
I brought my medal to show you. I don't know if it picks up well.
Yeah.
But it does.
Wow,
it does pick
beautiful.
up well. So this is the very first time they had. That's the very first Olympic medal, and it came just like this with the case. They put it around your neck. They give you those 2 kisses. That's beautiful. And I put it on, and I didn't take it off that whole time.
Wow.
And I just came back from a basketball camp in Pennsylvania, showing those little kids. I let them hold it. I still held it, but I let them hold it and touch it. But I still hold it. But I make sure that they get a chance to see, because it inspires them.
Yeah.
And many people have held or touched World Series rings or the football rings, things like that, the Super Bowl rings, but they haven't had that medal. So I'm happy to show it to people. And I often tell folks that a lot of people get married, they have children, they have life and death in their family, but the Olympic experience is something I reflect on every single day of my life. Not a single day goes by that I don't think about the Olympics. It's just been that powerful in my life. I never would have been able to do a show like this. I probably would have been too shy, if you could believe that, or it wouldn't have opened up the opportunities. Many places I go to, I'm the only one that looks like me. I'm not afraid to go.
Another question we have for you.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to go in that room, and I think I'm supposed to. Sometimes they say much is given to us, much is expected. So
yeah.
I embrace it. I embrace it.
So many things historically. So coming off of Title IX in 1972, if I'm 71, 72, so it made sense that now the Olympics come around. So there's legislation that's actually being passed. So in a lot of ways, you were kind of silent advocates. How do you look at what happened then and see where we are now? If you were asked to just kind of put it all together from a historical perspective of how this all came to be, how would you summarize all of that?
Hard to summarize, but perseverance, desire, dedication, discipline, just kept pushing from all different angles. Kept going forward. We couldn't be denied. I mean, we got to be too good. You couldn't suppress us. You couldn't suppress us. This game was powerful. And what I have enjoyed along the way are the male supporters that we have built up. And the male supporters, our advocates, are also in the playgrounds. I mean, I used to go to the playground and it would only be me, meaning I was the only girl playing, but I just kind of went in there. My father would send my brother to go with her to the playground because he knew I was going to go play. And my brother did not play basketball, but I guess he was supposed to be my bodyguard or something. But I got in there and I played, and those guys are advocates. So I love to see it now, how it's not unusual, 1, to see girls in the playground, and 2, to see them playing against boys, and boys saying, no, she's on my team, I got her. And they are the advocates that come along now, and they have no problem. I want to ask these wrestlers, Penny, you were talking about the wrestler that kept crying so much when she got the gold medal. She had to wrestle against guys.
Yeah,
most definitely. Probably her brothers. I don't know if she got any, but that's where I played my ball again. Probably her brothers.
That's where it started.
It was incredible. I mean, just incredible. And the question I had, I know you went through that, and did you ever in your life think there would be a WNBA?
No, I was really gearing toward the NBA. I had seen all those men play, and in the back of my head, I don't know where it came from, that I'm going to be on the Knicks, that I'm going to take like Walt Frazier's place or something on the Knicks. But I just love basketball so much. but I did hear about basketball in Europe. So that kind of kept me down. It was ironic after a great college career and you get the Olympic medal, there was no place left for me to play but to go to Europe. So, I was one of those first to go to Europe and play. And my father didn't even believe it when I said, "Daddy, there's a ticket for me to go to Nice, France. Just take me to the airport." He barely got off the sofa. He barely put down a newspaper. And I said, "Really, drive me to the airport so I could go get this ticket." And that was the time when you could just drive right up to the gate, and get your ticket. And then I came back out. I said, "See, I told you I'm going to France next week." He said,
"That's crazy."
He exactly. That's what he was saying too. In fact, my father called my sister, who was at school in Portland, Oregon, to tell me that I couldn't go. Okay, so my room is here. My father's bedroom is there. My sister is 3,000 miles away. And that's who he wants to tell me that I can't go. It's too late, Daddy.
Yeah, I got that ticket. And a tribute question for everybody. And we're not going to let them go because I didn't even know this. Who was the first pro women professional team to ever play in the Garden? Oh. And I'm going to throw you a bone. It wasn't the New York Liberty. Yeah. So anybody know that answer on here, or anybody in our chat room, or anybody that's got those questions out there? Who was the first professional women's team to play in the Garden?
First professional women's team to play. It was wasn't it the one that no, that wasn't a women's team though. I was gonna say that Nancy Lieberman played on.
And this is
one of Rita's Women with a Future. I mean, I'm really that one of professional women's teams. I don't know. Give it to us. Now you done brought up the trivia.
Well, I'm gonna let Gail give it to you. You should have known it had to be with somebody on the panel. Me asking that.
Right here, the New York Stars. We were coached by Dean the Dream Meminger. We were the first women's basketball to play professionally in Madison Square Garden. Wow. Our season was 1979, 80. We played, and often we'd have double headers with the New York Knicks. So it would be cool to come off and give Dr. J a high five. Okay, woo! I had my time, now it's your time. He was playing with Philadelphia, but we were the first time we had women's basketball. So I keep waiting for the New York Liberty to slip up and say something wrong, because then I'll be right at the New York Times and say, "No, you're wrong." The New York Liberty of the WBL, Women's Basketball League. We were the first team to play there professionally. That was our home court for maybe a dozen, maybe 20 games. And Dean, the Dream Meminger from Marquette University, and later with the New York Knicks, he was our coach. And, after all that adversity, playing pro, they still owe me money. But after all that adversity, we had to win the championship after that.
So I'm going to take this quick question and I'm going to take this quick break because we said that we would show that celebration. Everybody is just totally cracking up on Diana Taurasi. But this is actually a good one from
That's
Jimmy.
New Ruthie. Okay, because I wanted to hear
WNBA title or USA gold medal. I asked because the men's players might say NBA title over USA gold. Your thoughts? Which one, if you had to say, I mean, they're both huge accolades. It's exciting, but if you had to go, which one? Is it the WNBA title or an Olympic gold? Which one? Ruthie, which one? You have both. So which one?
Just as a correction, when the Monarchs won, I was working with the team, but I wasn't a player.
But you got a medal. Oh, I got you. So I guess.
But this is what. But I would say, I would think the Olympics. I look at, just for me personally, I like the Olympics. I don't think I ever heard anybody that compare, even NBA guys that makes millions of dollars, even though that's their job. I've heard them say this is nothing like the Olympic experience. And so I think that it's just something it's something special about that, because you represent not just your family, your community. You represent the country. You represent people that, the youth now, when I go out and I share my medals, kids that wasn't even born when I was in the Olympics, I feel like I'm representing them. So generation to generation. So it's something that it feels like you represent the whole the panoramic view of America, your country. So it definitely is a beautiful experience, and it's a beautiful opportunity to represent so many people in the country. And I don't know if you've seen that movie, The Miracle. It's like, sometimes with USA is different. Listen, if you haven't seen it, that's your homework, Vera. Listen,
yes, I did.
You know what I'm talking about? The scene that's in the gym. They make him get on the line and say, who do you play for? He said, I play for Virginia. Get on the line. Who do you play for? I play for Texas. Get on the line.
Yeah.
I said, who do you play for? He asked another one. I play for California, where they were naming different places. And about the 8th time after the 8th spring, he said, who do you play for? He said, I play for USA. That's the point he wanted him to make. Like, this is not about you. That experience is bigger than you. It's about your country. And so that's what makes it so special, being in the Olympics, that platform, is that it's not about you. It's about the whole country.
Ruthie, let me ask you this, Ruthie. Do you ever feel like being on the Olympics is similar to serving your country, as if it was a military thing? You know, I mean, I didn't go and serve in war, really, so to speak. Yeah. But I often feel like it's serving your country that way. And you're representing the whole, 300 million or 200 million of us, and serving our country. I often have always wanted to ask somebody who was in the military, do I have it wrong? How do you feel about it? Because, someone who's been closer.
You on it, because it is service above self, and the military is, being the first lieutenant in the Army, and it's not about you. You represent everybody. You represent, there's things you have to do. There's an accountability, but there is it's a wide range of a playing field. Like, I represent everybody, and so it is a comparison, because USA, that's why everybody don't make the team. I was on, being on the committee at one time, it's like, you don't pick always the best player. You pick the player that fit, that's going to be coachable. That's going to be a team first. You could be the greatest player in the world, but how do you fit in this chemical? We're doing something different. What they're saying is that this USA experience is bigger than just you. Okay, this is about becoming one unit, one family, one team, and you have one goal, that's a win. So it definitely is a great comparison to the military.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's such a unique, I've never been on an Olympic team. I haven't, in high school, and haven't played on championship team, but I've been the architect of 3, with the Los Angeles Sparks. I'm claiming this gold medal too, because I was on this committee too before.
Okay, go ahead, girl.
Having Sparks, I always looked at the Olympic team. It's like one day Chelsea and I were eating, and Chelsea was going to travel, and we were talking about the Olympics, and she even asked that question. I said, Chelsea, you know what? It's a bigger pool of players that can say they won a championship, but that pool of people that can say they have a gold medal, it is really small.
Really small, right?
It's really small. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you say, no matter what goes on. And the thing, and I'm getting goosebumps now. I don't know if y'all can see those. But I'm getting goosebumps because after looking at the pandemic, Black Lives Matter, America, we're still the greatest, because we put all our differences aside and still came to keep y'all behind. Okay? So we're still the greatest. That's why I'm getting goosebumps, because it shows that we're a strong nation. We persevere. And we believe in, like equality, equity for everybody. And we came together as a country, as a nation, and we went to the Olympics, and it was beautiful. And I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be a long time for someone can say that they went through an Olympic like this one. Wow. It's sort of like your first one, Gail. It'll never be another first one. Right. And I pray and hope that it'll never be another one during a pandemic. But imagine the story that people would tell themselves. And being a female basketball player, for me, just like chatting a little bit with Dawn today, to say, wow, I'm friends with the first African-American Black coach to ever win a championship. Yeah. I was praying for John Thompson to get it, because I'm from D.C. When he went. I was a baby when Lenny Wilkins had the opportunity. People don't know that he had an opportunity. But to see Dawn win that and have all that pressure on her, and her handling like that, you guys, hey,
plus they had a country, Japan. It really is. Want the games. I mean, they wanted the games, but the Japanese public if you ask them, they didn't want the games. And this was like a week away. This is when the athletes are even here. Japan was saying we don't want it. So it was just very difficult all around.
And they should be happy because it's the first time women medal at an Olympics in basketball, and they took home the silver medal, which is the first time ever to win a medal. And I was shocked when they beat our softball team because I'm going to tell you, I was watching everything. If America was in, I was watching, and I was screaming, "Get up, get up, get up!" You know, but I'm telling you, for everything that's done happened the last year and a half, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm just going to put it out there. I'm proud to be an American. Everybody knows I've always felt like that.
It really is, and I want to sort of piggyback off what you said about Dawn. I saw Dawn over there. I saw her in the gift shop, and one thing that I saw her in the room that was after we had finished playing, and she, one thing that I applaud Dawn with, and I sent her a message too. I said, Dawn, I'm so proud of you. She's so humble. She don't care about all the hoopla. She's she just the same. And I said, you know, she like, hey, Ruby, what you know, she's just solid. She's solid people. Yeah. And she, you know, you either be history or make history. She made history, and she did it in a humble way. She not pumping her pom-pom, look at me, I did. She just like, hey, you know what? She just letting it ride. You know, I'm thankful for these young ladies. So I applaud her for what she's given to the game as a teammate, and obviously as a coach, because I knew she was going to be, you know, she's one of the greatest floor general that I ever played with. And so to lead a team that way, and I'm definitely proud of her, and she leaving a legacy. And so really, it's the one that I think being able to, the Olympic experience is beautiful. And I know maybe it wasn't the same not having the fans, but it was still an opportunity for some to fulfill their dream and for some to experience that. And I'm going to say this and I'm done, but I don't know if I didn't get to watch the volleyball girls, but the coach, I can't think of his name.
Oh,
after they beat Serbia, after they beat Serbia, they asked him, they said, you beat Serbia, they beat y'all like 4 or 5 years ago. And he said, so the reporter asked him, how do you feel about the championship game against, I think they didn't know who it was, it ended up being Brazil. He said, obviously, I want these girls, and he got teary-eyed. He said, I want these girls to experience that middle podium. I want to experience standing there because he's been there a lot of times, I guess, in regular volleyball and also beach. But it's like, I know it's like he want them because coaches don't get medals at the Olympics. Like he wanted it so badly for them, and that he got emotional. So I think to me, that's another Olympic spirit moment. Like, hey, I want them to experience what I experienced. So that's why I'm glad that they had it, even though we missed out a lot of spectators. But I think it was the time and we needed it because everybody needed something to transition to this next, you know, to the next phase and go ahead and take, you know, at least do something in reference to the Olympics for now.
You're so right.
I wanted to go back to the Dawn thing because every year up in Philadelphia, I host the Dawn Staley Award. And just even for the moments every single year, just being with Dawn, I totally agree. She's just, it's hoopla and ooh-ah to everybody else. To Dawn, it's just, you know, hey, I am who I am, right? She has made such a statement on so many levels and has become an icon on so many levels as well. The question is her potential of being an NBA head coach. Anybody got thoughts on whether that could happen, should happen, would happen? She wouldn't do it. Any thoughts?
I know, Peter, you're going to probably got to elaborate. I'm gonna throw mine in real quick. I don't know. You know, like I said, Dawn, I don't know. Like, I think one of the reasons why I know we mentioned about she going to come back, I think she really can't wait to get back to her team, her college team.
Her college team.
I don't know. And Peter, you may have a different, it may be something, but I don't know if Dawn would even be, you know, I don't know if that would be anything. It might later. I don't know if there would be something she's interested in right now. I'm not sure, but I feel like she's so content with where she is. But I know she want to grow and be the best version of Dawn. So that could mean being an NBA coach. So what do you think about that, Penny?
I think that Dawn has been that person at every step. Think about it. She took over Temple, changed that. Took over South Carolina, changed that. Went to the national team with God knows how much pressure being Afro-American to win this thing. Done changed that. I think Dawn will make a great head coach, and I'm going to tell you why. Because of her demeanor, laid back. You know, she listens to her players. Obviously, I had the opportunity to be around her a lot when she's coaching these young kids. And I think if the opportunity presented itself, I could see her winning at that level too. Because, like I said, one thing that a lot of women are, especially Dawn being the floor general she is, we're students of the game. A lot of women, we have to be students of the game.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Men are just more athletics, but if you were to break it down and footwork and running plays and schemes, you know, we would crush them. You know, I think if the opportunity presented itself, I think Dawn would take it on like the champion she is, and I truly believe that she would be very, very successful there because of her demeanor, because she listens. She's not a dictatorship coach. She listens to her players. You see, the thing is, I love when I see her, the videos that they were sending out from the Olympics, her having fun with their plans, doing her dance, even though she was all weak, and them making fun of it. Those are the precious moments that nobody would take away. So for me personally, I might be a little selfish. If the opportunity presents itself, I hope she takes it and grabs it.
I do too. I hope
she takes it.
But you know, one thing I'd like to toss in there, Penny and Ruthie, does she have to?
Yeah, no.
Does she have
no,
NBA coach?
No, she's solid. No.
Her magnitude? No. She already did everything. If she said, listen, I'm done, I'm tired, thank you, South Carolina. If she left yesterday, you know, she's on her way to Naismith. So she's accomplished.
Absolutely.
And I just don't want it to be that the only way, all right, yeah, well, she got that a little bit. But can she coach the men? Can she coach the NBA? It's sort of like you're asking because you're not quite sure. But I
totally agree with you, Gail. I totally agree with you. But South Carolina, you need to do something. You need to get Dawn's statue right next to Asia.
Oh, yeah,
there, okay? Let's not celebrate people when they in the ground.
Exactly.
None left. Hey, Dawn deserves that statue.
You know where else? Hey, you know where else Dawn deserves a statue? I don't know if you've been to Colorado Springs lately. I haven't lately. Hey, listen, they have done a good job with the Olympic Training Center. It's pretty nice. They need to find a little corner to put her little statue, because as a player and a coach and what she's done, I definitely think she deserves to be there. So I can go and write on her statue. And you know.
Yeah, she needs to. South Carolina, y'all get that money together.
I'm telling you, Virginia too. You put them on the map.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Gail, that's such an excellent point, because even though we always try to say the NBA is the epitome, it is. And Dawn, like you said, she done everything and couldn't carry the flag bearer for the Olympic.
Oh yes, that was beautiful.
I mean, that's a really small. That's a really small class. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because I'm one of those people too that I hate when people think we need to be validated by making the men's league.
Doing stuff with the men.
Yes.
You know, if you put her career side by side with any other males, it can battle.
If you put them side by side and put a cover on their faces or on their names, and just put the X's and O's right here, just put the accomplishments side by side, you wouldn't know if that's a man or a woman. Just line them right up, okay? And then that's what they need to do.
One thing that I didn't want to miss while we had the opportunity to have the great Gail Marquis with us is take it off the court. Penny, you brought this up before the show started. Take it off the court, since we're talking about the accomplishments of women versus men. You've got a whole career in Wall Street, where I'm sure there's not a whole lot of folks that look like Gail Marquis. Talk about that and how even sport prepared you for that, because you kind of alluded to it earlier. But I am curious to know, like, how does this translate? You know, sport is just a microcosm of our world, right? And so,
well, if she don't come in, I'm gonna finish your question. How did you translate from the Olympics to Wall Street and was real successful?
It was the next arena. Again, coming out of the Olympics, there weren't coaching jobs for women because they weren't that college level. And if you were a high school teacher, you got paid more than a college coach. So I was not really ready to go down that road either. And then coming out ever playing in the Olympics, and I played 4 years in Europe. You know, I'm right here. I couldn't even go in and coach the junior high school team because I'm better than them. I couldn't go to college yet because I couldn't coach and not chastise them for not being good enough. So I got to go to the next arena, which was Wall Street. And again, no one looks like me. I didn't have a business degree. My degree was in education. But still, I went to Wall Street because I knew that was going to be a tough ground and just kind of work my way. What's the stock? What's the bond? And I went where they said I couldn't go. I remember interviewing for a stockbroker's position, and the man said to me, well, what are you going to do after you finish selling to your mother, father, and all your friends? Wow. I mean, just like a backhanded, call like that. And I wasn't as mature, to come back at him. And I said, I probably would find a way, something just kind of low key. So he didn't give me that job, but I got in on an operations side and just kind of got in there. And I made sure to take my Series 7, which is your registered securities representative, so I could sell stocks, bonds, securities, options, and calls. So I made sure to go in that way. And I got stopped a lot of times. I remember being in one position where they brought in this white guy, a nice young man, but he was about 4 or 5 years my junior. He had only been there for 6 weeks, and they were going to make him my supervisor. Whoa. So I remember taking, I didn't like that at all. I remember taking the next day off so I could write my rebuttal and type it up, and then came back in, and I told the manager why he did not deserve to have that position. I should have had it. And he said, well, I think that, I said, well, listen, I'm going to train the young man. Don't worry, I'm going to train him. And I did, because I didn't hold it against Joshua. I just went in and trained him. And Joshua lasted another 6 weeks, and then he was gone. And that was my call to say, well, listen, it's time for me to get out of here, too, because obviously there's no place for me to go in this spot. I was able to get a transfer, go to another area, and I took off there until I can make it to another area. So once you get stopped, you got to kind of keep going forward. It's not always a straight line. It's a little left and a right. Mm-hmm. And I remember once I had one of those like Me Too moments, like somebody was going to come and approach me in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of stared them down. No, that is not happening. We're not having any kind of Me Too action around here. Mm-hmm. Forget about HR. I'm going to handle it right here. There's no problem going to HR. I'm going to handle it right here. Right. Okay. And again, that situation was chill, but you learn your lesson. But I kept moving through. Sometimes I had to leave a firm to go to another firm. Always wanted to go forward, and I just would not let them stop me. That's all, until I, got to be vice president or whatever I wanted to do. And I left on my terms. I made sure I left on my terms. So now I'm working at a university. I'm doing fundraising. I just asked for money the same way I did when I was selling stocks and bonds. I just asked for money. I was asking for money for your retirement account. Now I'm asking for money for the students and for the programs. So got to take all of that with you. And yes, basketball was another one who pushed you through. The Olympic medal, just the Olympic experience. If I didn't get a medal, it was the Olympic experience. So many times when they tell you no, so many times you get cut from some of those teams and you see the politics. You see, somebody who was injured and she's able to make it to the final 12. It's politics. Well, that's out of my hands. And then when you put that to real life, there's certain things that are out of your hands, but you cannot be stopped. You can't be stopped around it. And I tell these young people now, don't you dare say it's because you're black. Don't you dare say it's because you're a woman. You cannot use the race card. All right. You're not old enough to use the race card. You're not good enough to use the race card. You got to work harder. And I leave them with that. Even if it's true, you can't let the young people fall back on that. And that's what has pushed me through and made me persevere.
Wow.
That's a great story. Yeah. That's why this is going to be an awesome show to even learn the history. And that's why I always try to say, I remember one time sitting in my office and I would have players to go overseas. And, when I went overseas, I know when you went overseas, it was even tougher. When I went overseas, I had a player tell me one time, she said, Penny, my friends call me Penny PT. Penny, you'll get it. I'm lonely over here. And I was on FaceTime and I did like this. If I get the harp, that means you won in big time. Now, if I do the violin, okay. When I get the harp, she's like, Penny, you don't understand. I said, oh, my bad. When I was there, the answer machine was a tape recorder. There was no FaceTime. You might watch one basketball game a week, and you had to get up at 3, 4 in the morning. Remember, Ruthie? The phone bill gonna be 10, 15,000 because we don't have, no phone service, no internet. No. And then when I'm there, I'm only looking at maybe 8 Americans on the whole road thing, and you got 8 on your team that are not
exactly.
I went just like this, girl. What song you want? Beethoven? Who you want? You know?
I know which song. I know.
Yeah, I'm like, girl, you kidding me? And she's like, no, Kitty, you don't understand. This is what I understand, and they knew what that meant when I started doing the heart. I'm like, you guys are killing me now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right or wrong, though, Ruthie. Right or wrong. And again, I can only imagine you said you wasn't calling home. Probably would have cost $100.
No.
And listen,
pick it up, but nothing.
Hey, Penny, I don't think you made my first. Listen, I was like a kid in Canada, so I was in Sweden. You know how much I made my first month? You know how much I was getting? $1,500 a month. And guess what? And I split that in phone bill because I was I was on the phone, calling home, calling my boo. And I was like, oh man, listen, I still made the best of it. I'm talking about I'm balling over there, but still not making money. They have it made now. They have it made. So next time,
everything. You know, I told this player too. The biggest mistake for all you guys that go overseas, and I told them this, and I learned this being the only one. And you know what? It's funny because a lot of people don't know Dennis Rodman had a sister. My first overseas player was Deborah Rodman. Who was my player, Dennis Rodman's sister, right? Very good leader coming as a young player over there. But I always tell them, and no offense to any of us Americans on here now, but you're not going to be my best friend. I can promise you that. Go make best friends with somebody that lives there for you can see the country, the real country. Yeah. You know, not what's just in the map and the book. Immerse yourself in that because I promise you in 10 years when you don't have it, it's going to be the best experience you ever had. And I told my player, hang that phone up and go do something with one of your foreign teammates and not your American that I see you on Facebook with. You can hang with them when you get home. Go learn something about where you're at.
I made friends. I sing in Italian. When I went to Italy, I started singing in an Italian group, and I have like 3 Italian families. So I made the best. Every place I went, I just meshed myself into that country and just really tried to make the best of it. So yeah, we didn't have the social media, we didn't have all the outlets, but yeah, like you said, they need to stop. Don't listen to any complaints.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all know. Out there, put it up there for them.
And eat the food. Make sure you try the different food. I can't take the young people who go over there and you're trying to find McDonald's or you just want a hamburger. Yes. If you want to see what the French fries are like, go have, something different. Have a glass of wine. Have the escargot. Give it a try at least. Right.
I learned how to play the Italian cards. And this is a true story. And I love this guy. I'll never forget him. His name was Emilio. Played in Pescata, and his wife owned the team, and she owned the hotel where we stayed. Emilio didn't speak no English, and at the time I didn't speak no Italian. But we knew how to cheat our butts off in cards. We would teach you how to cheat. And if I do this, bastano, and I've never had so much fun betting on soccer or on games I didn't know nothing about. Because Emilio, like what you saying, Gail, he made that experience so nice. We would just be at the bar and he made, and guess what, you guys? In Italy, I had my Luciano. Yeah, I have my Luciano too. And then I had to break my boy. It was a guy named Marco. He was the owner's son. And he kept saying to me every day. And I was sorry to break his heart, but I had to break it. He go, Penny, oh my God, you gotta see a spaghetti western, I go, a spaghetti western, what's that? We got the best western. So he said, no, come to my house, I'm gonna show you a spaghetti western. So I get over to the house and he brings up a spaghetti western. He's like, look, these are the best movies ever. I go in there, Americans, because that's Mr. Clint Eastwood. It's more than Italian. He's speaking English. I had to break his heart. And he was watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Those are American Westerns that you're calling spaghetti Westerns. Experience, It was amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Just want to let you guys know Spoon is on. She says, love you, ladies. Love you, Miss Marquis. So.
Hey, bring her in here. Bring her in here to meet Miss. She probably already know Gail, though.
Yeah, we know Teaspoon because she's out in New York.
Yeah, so she's not on. Obviously, we can't bring her on the set, but she did join in. Wonderful. And so saw her in the comments. I can't believe it. We didn't take a break. We should have known. Soon as Rita Haywood said Gail Marquis was going to be our guest, we should have known. Our executive producer Rita Haywood couple of things I have to say. Well, first of all, I was supposed to stop because Rita was like, "You have to play this." So we came on talking about the.
You don't have to play it, but it's
I don't want to play it.
It's funny.
Yeah, let's play if you want to play it. We
I
can
think
go
you
over a
should.
little bit.
Stop asking questions about
We
it.
can go over a little bit.
Hey,
So
come
I
on,
wanted to
come on.
ask Gail. Let me see if I can find it here. Gail, when you finished partying after you won the silver medal in the very first 1976 Olympics for women's basketball, I just need to know, did you party like this? Hold on. Come on. Let me see if I can get it to play.
You got it.
Come on. Oh,
We had it before.
It is.
There it is.
Look at Ross back there.
Now, can you imagine Pat Summitt with a move like that? I love it. I love it. Oh, we pick it right out the bottle. Even better.
All right.
All
Right.
right.
So I just want to know what kind of
it
dance
was
were you
dope.
doing back in 1976 when you celebrated the Olympics?
I know I had a little
Oh, wait a
two-step
minute, I think I
going,
got
whether it was with Trish Roberts or Lucy Harris and Nancy Dunkel. I definitely did have to shake something. That's for
There
sure.
you go.
Yeah. Well, congratulations again, because I'm sure each time you see the Olympics, same for you, Ruthie. It's like reliving it all over again, right? That experience. Yeah, you got the horn. I got the
flag.
Thank you. Thank you.
It has been awesome, and I think what women have been able to do speaks volumes this year in the Olympics. It is girl power. We are certified Unscripted, and we definitely promote girl power.
Absolutely.
And probably one of the most legendary girls we could have had is Gail Marquis.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for welcoming me. And you ladies were great, wonderful.
And on the behalf of Certified Unscripted, we want to say thank you, Gail. Thank you, Gail.
The lights on.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
We just want to thank you, Gail.
My life is complete. Thank you, Ruthie. Beautiful, Ruthie. Beautiful.
Hey, you know what? I want to say one last thing. I don't even know if Gail knew this, but she was who I looked up to and who I wanted to be like when I grew up over here in South Jamaica, because she was at Queens College. I was at St. John's. I was a freshman. She was a senior. And I'm like, dang, she's good. And that's all you heard about was Gail Marquis. But she was somebody that that motivated me to work hard and to really get into basketball. So I don't even know if she knew that, but we used to follow her around when we went to Empire State games.
Empire State games.
Yeah. And they would be like, go to bed. I'd be like, oh man, I can't even hang.
And then remember our touring team, we came in and we played against St. John's just to get you gals ready for the Big East. Yes.
Absolutely. You sure did. So
Nice.
I appreciate you. Namaste to you. And I just love you for life.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me, Rita. Love you, ladies. You've upheld the legacy. You did a great job. Each one stepping higher and higher. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, my shoulders are broad. Y'all are standing on my shoulders. They're nice and broad. I can take all of you.
All
You're
right.
doing great work. And you too, Vera. I mean, there weren't ladies in the booth when we were coming up. We had to hope that these men said our name right and gave us our props. So thanks for being here, Vera.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we keep getting requests. Just know that we're going to have more great guests. And yes, we have put in all of the requests for Cheryl Miller,
Teresa Edwards.
Teresa Edwards. So just hold your horses and keep on coming back. We can't, the requests have been made, but we can't make their schedules. So we're going to continue to get as many great people on here as possible. And we want to continue to keep all of the excitement around women's basketball and women's sports in general, because when it comes to women's hoops, we're not new to this. We true to this. We are
true to this. Certified.
I'm never gonna get your point right ever. You got one job. It's 2 words. Certified. Never get it right. Never get it right. Thank you everybody for joining us this week. Gail Marquis, you're awesome. We love you. Thank you to our Olympics, and go USA.
Go USA.